Breaking news. Welcome to today's headlines. We understand we have borrowed too much, but now deserved pardon. Buhari addresses UNGA, calls for debt cancellation. We understand we have borrowed too much, but now deserved pardon. Buhari addresses UNGA, calls for debt cancellation. To my dear listeners from wherever you're listening from, please stay tuned as I read today's news. President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday addressed world leaders in New York, calling for total debt cancellation of poor countries, including Nigeria. Speaking at the 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly, Buhari said developing countries were facing numerous challenges, worsening economy, including being able to service external debt. He asked the world leaders to address what he described as the burden of unsustainable external debt. President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday addressed world leaders in New York, calling for total debt cancellation of poor countries, including Nigeria. Speaking at the 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly, Buhari said developing countries were facing numerous challenges, worsening economy, including being able to service external debt. He asked the world leaders to address what he described as the burden of unsustainable external debt. President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday addressed world leaders in New York, calling for total debt cancellation of poor countries, including Nigeria. Speaking at the 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly, Buhari said developing countries were facing numerous challenges, worsening economy, including being able to service external debt. He asked the world leaders to address what he described as the burden of unsustainable external debt. President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday addressed world leaders in New York, calling for total debt cancellation of poor countries, including Nigeria. Speaking at the 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly, Buhari said developing countries were facing numerous challenges, worsening economy, including being able to service external debt. He asked the world leaders to address what he described as the burden of unsustainable external debt. To my dear listeners, from wherever you're listening from, now we've come to the end of our today's news. And to my dear listeners, before I go, in my own opinion, personally, I didn't say anything bad in borrowing from other countries. But the problem is, even while you borrow, you should do something tangible, like something that would actually help the citizens with the money, instead of you spending the money lavishly and still go extra miles to borrow another money and spend the money extravagantly. This is one of the problem behind the reason why this country is not progressing. You see, it's not progressing in that sense that when you went to borrow money from another country, you didn't spend the money wisely. You didn't use the money to create a means of employment. You didn't use the money to pay pensioners. At least, even if pensioners were paid promptly and accurately, at least, even if anybody would complain, I know some will complain, but at least it will still satisfy some people that have served the country for several years, and now instead of them to get their own tuition, for them to relax, for them to, at least, for the service they've rendered to the nation for the whole years of their life, it is time for them to get the money. But now they are not getting the money. Instead, they keep suffering. It's just as if they didn't work for the government at all. No good road. The only good roads in this country are the roads that lead to their houses, are the roads that lead to their workplaces, to their offices. So now they are calling for debt cancellation. For where? What is that going to happen? Because they didn't spend the money wisely. If they had spent the money wisely, even the people would stand before them. People would stand with them that, wow, they've spent the money wisely, but they went extra miles just to borrow money to buy cars, to send gifts to themselves just because of the election that is coming on. Our government are not wise enough to create a better hospital, a better school building structures. You go to many different public schools, they didn't have better structures of receiving education. Their formal wall is just like a detached building. It is not There is no of difference at all. So, to my dear listeners, now I've come to the end of our today's news. Please do drop by at the comment section and let's know what your view is all about. Thank you for listening.